The horn of vengeance has sounded. Although the fate of my eldest sister's death has been rewritten, convincing her to accept the truth of bloodshed among kin is an even more difficult problem. At this moment, Brian is patching up her wound. She has already figured out the reason behind Cecilia's betrayal. Cecilia was a spy planted by the princess from the very beginning. I was so foolish. I haven't even noticed it till now. Ellis's voice was full of self-blame. Even so, I still kept saying I wanted to inherit the legacy of the family. Seeing my sister so dejected, I could only salt the wound. This isn't your fault, big sister. The true culprits are Cecilia, Princess Violet. I paused for a moment. My aura turned more serious as I added, and Ashelle. What? You're telling me Achelle's the one behind this entire situation? Ellis grew emotional, tearing open her already bandaged wounds without even noticing. If you know something, just tell me. I want to know the whole truth. But the very next moment, she denied her own suspicion. But this was arranged by father. I interrupted her sharply. It was probably Achelle's suggestion. You know father would do anything for him. Within just 6 days, Ellis had endured 2 betrayals. It was brutal, but just like me in my previous life, I didn't awaken until the final moment. But why? Ellis's voice trembled, on the verge of tears. Of course, so that he will be the one to carry on the family's legacy. She gritted her teeth. The family's legacy? Ellis never expected that the second time she'd hear those words would be in a moment like this. He would kill his own family just for that? Ellis's reaction was far better than I had imagined. Are you sure about Ashelle? Yes. So you've seen his true nature too, haven't you? At those words, Ellis gave a bitter smile. This little brother she always worried about had already come so far. I thought I was the only one who felt it. But isn't it strange? I understood her doubts, this sense of dissonance with everything around her that no one would ever believe. It was as if everyone else, including father, had always given Ashelle unconditional trust and support. Ellis continued. It seemed more like Ashelle naturally possessed some mysterious quality I didn't have. Even in today's battle, it felt like some invisible power was protecting Ashelle. Invisible power? I'd faced that power before, in my past life, when I risked everything to strike him down. At that time when I had felt that I had reached him, that force blocked my final blow. I never found its origin, but it clearly had the power to deflect the demon blade. As I thought, that is the only explanation behind it. Suddenly, Ellis's words pulled me back from my thoughts. We have to tell father everything. I immediately answered. He probably won't listen. That would have been the case if it was me alone. But we convince him together. I shook my head and refused Ellis's proposal. I'm sorry, big sis, but believe me, just this once. One mistake and you might turn the entire Knights of Light into enemies. Ellis froze. She had never imagined such a possibility, but I had reason to believe so. Even in my previous life, Ashelle was always at the center of worship. As if they were looking at the savior who would lead them, everyone followed and cherished him. I had once been one of them. Because everyone lauded him as a hero, I didn't particularly hold any suspicion towards him. Looking back, it was a strange sight, since he was like a religion to the people. This cannot be explained by talent alone. Even the world's greatest heroes have haters. However, that universal law didn't apply to Ashelle. Even father, who lived for honor, even Emperor Lionel, who chased after his ambitions, and even Boris, who sought knowledge endlessly, everyone trusted him without a shred of doubt. Even I trusted him until the last moments of my life. Looking back, it's all strange. Why did I ever trust someone that deeply? But if my next guess is correct, everything makes sense. Ashelle inherited Lumindel's absolute divine authority. He is the chosen savior of the God of Light. At that moment, the battle between the Order of Light and the Earth Dragon was in full swing. The two princes stood helpless, staring at the dragon's incoming attack. We're doomed. I'm going to die. Move. You're blocking me. But suddenly, a figure leapt in front of them. Brilliant holy light blazed forth, forcing the Earth Dragon to retreat again. Well done, Ashelle. Even amidst this chaotic battlefield, Ashelle had enough composure to look back and warn the princes to be careful, just as the next attack came crashing in. Your rampage ends here. Shield of Judgment. His arm extended. The round shield swelled in the wind, clashing head-on with the dragon's mighty breath. Like a glacier standing firm before a tsunami, the great shield held fast. Then the dragon's breath surged forward, but in its stunned gaze, a figure charged through the flames, swords slicing down like splitting mountains. The Earth Dragon's massive body was cut clean in two. When everyone looked again, Ashelle was already standing calmly, cool and composed as always. Is everyone alright? The crowd stood in stunned silence. Only after the dragon's corpse hit the ground did they finally react. It's Lord Ashelle. He saved us. The dragon was nothing before him. Cheers erupted. Even the princes were moved, feeling a surge of admiration. You did well. I'll be sure to speak highly of you before father. All past grudges and tensions vanished like melting ice. Ashelle finally smiled. It's my honor, your highness. No matter what he does, he always earns more recognition and praise than anyone else. If that's not a savior, then what is? Ellis was stunned by my conclusion. Ashelle is the savior? How could this be? For someone like him to be chosen by God Lumindel? I continued. Yes, Lumindel simply needs a savior. It didn't matter what sort of person he would be, as long as he's chosen by the supreme God. Rejecting him outright would be the same as blasphemy. You could end up eternally antagonizing those who follow him. This shook Ellis's lifelong beliefs to the core. She was momentarily dazed. But how do you know all this? I was stunned, not expecting her to ask me this question. I can't tell you yet. Behind all of this may be unexplained Unexpectedly, Ellis interrupted me. Then don't say it. I trust you. I'm sure you have your reasons, but you have to promise me. Don't bear this all alone. Big sister will always support you. I didn't expect Ellis to react like this, but it gave me a rare sense of relief. Yes, big sis. The next moment, she suddenly turned to thank Brian. And thank you for healing me. Brian humbly waved it off, but the moment he glanced at me, he caught the murderous look I was hiding behind my sister. Don't get too carried away. What are you smiling for? Things finally calmed down, but when it came to the next steps, Ellis seemed a bit disheartened. There's something I must do first. I have to meet Cecilia. I want her to tell me face to face why she betrayed me. This small favor I would not refuse. I'll help you. As I spoke, my Andabari's ring glowed. Her aura still lingers here. Tracking it won't be difficult. Meanwhile, back in Princess Violet's safe house, Cecilia suddenly grew tense. An unfamiliar mana had entered her senses. Someone seems to be approaching this place, but Violet dismissed it. No one else knows where this place is but me. There won't be any intruders. Before she could finish, a sharp sword pierced through the window and hit the wall beside Princess Violet. Both were shocked. Princess Violet was screaming, but Cecilia's expression became even more grim. When the dust settled, she recognized the sword. That's Lady Ellis's sword. At the same time, on the battlefield, Yahello finally led his group to the princess's last known location. Only traces from a magic scroll remained. Is it a teleport spell? She must have retreated to the nearest shelter. He ordered a search of the area, but a subordinate's startled cry drew everyone's attention. Young Master Yahello, please look over here. By the time Yahello arrived, the once flat valley had collapsed into molten ravines. What kind of person could cause this much destruction? The knights began to worry for the princess's safety. Even Yahello was shaken. He decided to investigate personally. Just outside Princess Violet's hideout, Cecilia had caught up to the masked assassin's silhouette. Because of the immense murderous intent and mana, she thought it would be someone highly skilled, but the closer she got, the figure appeared to be just a kid. She forced herself to stay sharp. This opponent might have a hidden trump card, or there could be someone helping him. Windwalker. Her speed surged. She had to finish him in one strike, paired with lightning-fast attacks. This strike was certain to land. However, with a swift movement, she wasn't expecting that I was able to dodge her attack. Who are you? That was a movement I've never seen in the House of Vert. I looked at her directly. No reply. Was that sword you threw into the room? Does that mean Ellis is still alive? Were you able to save her? Still no response from me. So you're not going to speak? Then let's see if you can't scream either, shall we? Wind elements surged around Cecilia. Windwalker. In this empire, only a handful of knights can keep up with my speed. Her blades formed a net, shrinking quickly. In the next instant, all of my escape routes would be sealed. You can't dodge this. But again, her strike hit nothing but the ground. This made her utterly shocked. He dodged again? This kid surpassed my speed? Cecilia's heart burned with rage. This bastard. He hasn't even drawn his weapon yet. She quickly leaped high using the tree. Don't you dare underestimate me. Sharp storm. A massive shockwave swept across the area, stones flying. When the dust settled, the masked figure still stood firm, but in his hand, a black magic sphere had formed. This is impossible. Cecilia was gravely shocked. Void sphere. I slowly raised my hand. Sever. A razor-sharp magical slash carved through space. Cecilia was struck, her eyes lifeless, crashing heavily to the ground. What a pathetic defeat. Cecilia mumbled, then her lips curled up. I didn't think I'd be dying in a place like this. You really are like a grim reaper. Are you going to stay silent till the end? Cecilia leaned back. I'm about to die soon anyway, so why don't you tell me whether Lady Ellis survived or not? I stepped in front of her. Before that, I'm much more curious as to why you're making such an expression. Cecilia is puzzled. What expression? An expression of relief, perhaps. I thought you'd have more of an anguished look. Cecilia showed a relieved smile and replied calmly, maybe this is just karma. I guess this is the ending I deserve. Karma? A sudden shout made her pupils shrink. She recognized that voice. She looked back and saw Ellis. Tell me, Cecilia, why did you betray me? Cecilia's eyes lit up with emotion again. I'm glad you're alive. Lady Ellis, shut up and answer me. Why did you deceive me this whole time? Ellis's accusation brought Cecilia to tears again. Her memories began to unfold like a curtain. Cecilia's hometown is now a nameless small town that was destroyed by the attacks of the demonic beasts. She was their last survivor, and she was close to death. There's a survivor. These exact words gave her hope. Hold on just a bit longer. Kid, you're safe now. What are you doing? Hurry up and bring her something to eat and drink. Yes, Your Highness. She was fortunate to be rescued by the Imperial Knights who arrived at that time. Princess Violet was the one who took her in when she had nowhere to go. Naturally, Cecilia gave her life to her. These kinds of stories were common in war-torn times. Soon after, she was ordered to repay the favor. Get close to the Vert family. Wait for my command. With that mission, she entered the Duke's household, and that's when she came to know Ellis. Those were her happiest years. But now, all she felt was regret. If I'd just died in that ruined city back then, maybe that would have been better. It was the princess who ordered Ellis's death because her paranoia saw Ellis Vert as a threat. What did she mean that I threatened her? Ellis couldn't believe it. All because Yahello and Prince Lionel were close. Violet had always been anxious and obsessed, thinking that the House of Vert was following Lionel. Because she was suddenly faced with a tense situation, her anxiety must have grown. Cecilia gave a bitter smile. You're different from the princess, Lady Ellis. Yes, she's always been a coward. In that environment, she only trusts herself. I regret that she's the master I served. But you always trusted me. I'm sorry I let you down. This is the end. Ellis was speechless. I interrupted Cecilia. That's enough of your nonsense. As my mask fell away and my voice turned cold and hard. If you think admitting your mistake is enough for forgiveness, then you're gravely mistaken. The last hope in Ellis's heart was cut off. Wait, Cyan, let me think a little longer. I summoned the demon blade. You know deep down, betrayal is never a small matter, right? Cecilia lowered her eyes. There was no more struggle within them. Yes, I am well aware of it. Young Master Cyan. Wait, before we decide, maybe we should hear her out more. But Brian grabbed Ellis to stop her. Sorry, Lady Ellis, but this time, please trust the young master. The blade flashed. Blood sprayed once again. Meanwhile, in Princess Violet's safe house, the wooden door shattered in one blow. Violet's heart clenched again. Who's there? She nervously thought to herself. Damn it. Why now? Of all times, when Cecilia is away. The intruder walked closer. So you were here. Her anxiety only grew stronger. When she saw the face of the intruder, the panic could no longer be hidden. In the fading light, Echelle's expression shifted between gloom and calm. Princess Violet, I'm here to escort you. Princess Violet watches Echelle warily. Breaking into a lady's room like this, don't you think it's rude? Or do you now prefer to kill me? I do intend to kill you. Echelle doesn't bother to hide it. The scenario was supposed to be everyone dying to the elite demonic beast, including Prince Fabian, Nerobian, and you, Your Highness. Princess Violet, frightened, rebukes him, her hand secretly reaching for the teleport scroll behind her. Do you think you'd remain unscathed after committing such an act? But Echelle's next move cuts off her last hope. God Stinger. The scroll is shattered in one strike. Echelle's tone grows even colder. This is just a warning. I'm not finished with my business yet. How rude. Violet didn't expect that the gentleman who was usually gentle could be so terrifying when baring his fangs. Are you thinking of proceeding with your plan in the end? Who knows? Echelle pulls back his aura, but his gaze shifts to the sword on the wall. It's Ellis's sword. Where is my sibling who accompanied you? Violet, at a loss with Echelle's sudden change of attitude, but realizing she could not escape, drops her guard. I killed her because I suspected Ellis was on Lionel's side. Are you going to avenge her now? But Echelle's expression gives her a glimmer of unexpected hope. No, I'm thinking of changing that plan now. Princess Violet is puzzled. What? Echelle calmly draws Ellis's sword. You're quite calm even in this situation. Echelle slowly walked towards Princess Violet. Eliminating potential threats is also a wise decision. He added, then turned more serious. Honestly, your conduct surprised me a bit. You're completely unlike Prince Lionel. Princess Violet wavered in her mind. What is he up to? Does this guy really not care about his own sister at all? I plan to report to Prince Lionel that the plan has been a failure from the start. Hearing this, Princess Violet can't help but ask, what are you plotting? In the next moment, Echelle leaned closer and formally extended an offer to Princess Violet. So, how about we form an alliance? Aren't you following Lionel? Upon hearing this, Echelle couldn't help but chuckle. Who said that? We are merely business partners. You expect me to believe those words? Whether you believe me or not, Prince Lionel is also part of my plan. The shift in the situation was somewhat unexpected for Violet. The person before her also harbored ambitions no less than those of her royal brother. Then, what is your goal? To take over the entire empire? But Echelle simply stated indifferently, I don't care who takes over the empire. Then what do you want? Princess Violet questioned. If I must say, my pursuit is to eradicate evil, to completely wipe all darkness from this world. Is that really so? Don't you think that's too far-fetched? Violet remained skeptical. She couldn't believe that Echelle would be such a fervent zealot. Who knows? Echelle did not explain further, but his gaze suddenly turned stern. It seems that evil has appeared right now. A bizarre mana once again appeared in Echelle's perception, sending shivers through his entire body. Echelle looked up and thought to himself, not just a bizarre mana, it is closer to murderous intent. I've never felt such mana before. The next instant, a thick, dark, destructive energy shattered the entire room. The walls cracked before them, but the attack dissipated into nothing in front of Echelle. Looking towards the source, a flickering figure leapt across the sky, striking directly at Echelle like a white rainbow piercing the sun. Echelle gritted his teeth. Who are you really? The only response was a cold, merciless voice. I am the evil you have been searching for, in your demise. Fog blade, 8 fluttering petals. Under the demon form, I strike without mercy. The chaotic slashes, like a mastiff choosing its prey, silently burst forth in the confined space. Echelle hurriedly defended, but in a glance back, he saw even Princess Violet caught in the web of attacks. She cannot die yet. Energy burst forth. A shield of light elements securely whisked the princess away from the battlefield, but the safe house already destroyed by the overflowing magic, and only remnants remained. Echelle was also blown away by the residual energy. Violet immediately asked with concern, are you okay, Sir Echelle? But her voice had just emerged when Echelle interrupted. Be careful, there's still more. Adamant. The next moment, a massive dark wave destruction missile was already on its chase. Sword of the Holy, Ascalon. The burst of holy energy converged in Echelle's sword, splitting the magic orb in two with a supremely powerful slash. The aftermath crossed like intersecting rays, brushing past both of them. The next instant, the magic fluctuations close at hand shook his mind once again. Damn, he can also use dimension magic. I was like the scythe of the Grim Reaper, swinging down once again. again. But this unstoppable killing move was blocked by an invisible magic force, unable to advance further. The demon blade roared in agony, and this unknown force repelled me, sending me flying several meters. Ishel concluded that the opponent he is facing is far from ordinary. But that doesn't matter, I can win. Ishel stood tall, his confident words like a torch, igniting hope in the princess's heart. She stared at the man standing before her like a chasm, and the little dissatisfaction she had evaporated like smoke. But at that moment, I stopped attacking. Something was off with Karam. What's wrong? What's the matter, Karam? It hurts. It fucking hurts. It felt like my whole body was being ripped apart just now. It was strange. The demon blade, reputed to cut through anything, was now fragile as a child. Is that the power of authority? What a pain. Why did you stop? Didn't you say that you were my demise? Come at me if you dare. At this moment, Ishel's taunting was like an annoying fly. Although I desperately want to kill him, enough to puke over and over, but I have to make my retreat now that I have confirmed the power of his authority. I realized that this desire to kill him was doomed not to be fulfilled today. I must think of another way. The Andabari's ring radiated light, and Cecilia's equipment poured forth. Upon seeing this, Violet was shocked, recognizing it. Isn't that Cecilia's equipment? What did you do to Cecilia? Violet shouted, while I firmly answered, I purified her. Purified? What do you mean? Violet was confused, but Ishel immediately explained for her. It seems to mean that they've eliminated her. So that was your objective all along. Who ordered you to do this? We are the Mist. We do not forgive. She was purified by the will of none other than the natural order. From the snippets of conversation with the person before him, Ishel had come to understand the entire situation. The Mist. I never expected the ancient assassination organization would actually re-emerge. As the fog dissipated, my figure also vanished. A sense of irritation rose in Ishel's heart. That's one more nuisance to deal with. Were they the ones behind the interferences all this time? A moment later, Karam clutched his head in pain. My head is about to explode. I really feel like I'm going to die. Does it hurt that much? But unusually, Karam actually agreed with my jest. That was a first for me. Anyway, I couldn't even reach him. This is getting complicated. Perhaps there's a solution. Karam looked at me, puzzled. How? In the midst of our conversation, I took out an elemental stone from the holy sword. This gem contains the power of the god of light. Using it, we might be able to defeat Ishel. But Karam immediately stopped me. Don't even think about it. Unless you're looking for death. Don't tell me the reason you took it initially was for today. But Ellis's sudden appearance interrupted our argument. Cyan. Perhaps the gem is as dangerous as Karam says, but this is the only method I can think of. Besides, this life is different from the previous ones. The people before me are those I must protect. The same mistakes must not be repeated, especially after seeing the gap between myself and Ishel. If he's an opponent I can only defeat by going beyond the bounds of logic, then I'll gladly do so. The reason Ellis suddenly appeared here was to bid farewell to Cecilia, but at the moment of departure, Ellis couldn't help but bestow the white elf's token to her. It's a symbol of Lady Marianne. Not just anyone can enter the spirit zone. If you take this, you should be able to enter Pruina. Take care. Cecilia bid farewell with apologies. Thank you so much, and I'm sorry for what I've done. But Ellis turned her face away. Don't get me wrong, I haven't said I forgive you, so it's better not to appear before me again. Understood. Then I will be leaving, Cecilia said with tears streaming down her face. Seeing such a farewell scene, Karam couldn't help but ask, is it really okay to let her go like that? Wouldn't it be better to kill her so there's no trouble in the future? I find it hard to judge, because in a past life, I have already killed her once. Looking back, there wasn't even a need for me to kill her at that state. She was already driven to a mental breakdown by the guilt she carried from killing my sister. This lifetime, her burden is lighter. I'm more curious what price she will pay to make up for her debt to Ellis. And at this time, Cecilia had already embarked on her own journey of redemption. In her mind, scenes of near death emerged. In that instant, my slash did not take her life, but the words I spoke next woke her up. Remember, you have already died once, so your life from now on depends on when I decide to take it. Hide away and wait for my command. Remembering this, she thought to herself, is young Master Cyan able to see the future or something? He said that as if there'd be a moment where I'd be able to undo my errors. If that moment comes, this life that I've indebted, I'll gladly offer it to you, young Master Cyan. Meanwhile, Karam is in disbelief hearing my words. Are you hurt somewhere? Why does it feel like you got nicer? She poked my cheek. Are you terminally ill by chance? Before I could answer her, a voice called out Karam, so we both looked back. It was Ellis. Seeing her, Karam asked, did you have a good talk? Yes, all thanks to you. I know this is a bit late, but thank you for saving me. However, deep inside, she can't help but be amazed. A demon blade with a will of her own. Will I be able to get along with her? Karam smiled. Come on, that was nothing. Hearing this, Ellis is hopeful. Perhaps she might be a nice demon blade, so she asked, you looked really close with Cyan. Karam flatly replied, we're just in a master-servant relationship, so not really. Ellis was puzzled. A master-servant relationship? Karam turned serious. Yes, but his body's mine, so keep your eyes off him. Ellis was left speechless. It seems that it's going to be tough to get friendly with her. And a few days later, inside the Royal Academy, Chancellor Kundal was reading a letter from his beloved student Ellis. To dear Chancellor Kundal, I've finally got the answer to the question that had been brooding in me all this time. I've decided to leave the Order of the Knights of Light because I believe they have strayed from the right righteous path they once preached. The ones they are protecting are wrong, and the legacy of the house has been corrupted, and my father has been neglecting those changes as well. In a brief note, I hope to see you soon, and there are some important matters I'd like to discuss with you about my brother and Prince Lionel. I'll tell you the details myself once we meet. Of course, I have a small favor to ask. Could you please take care of my brother Cyan during the time I am away, if that's possible? With all regards, yours truly, Ellis. Chancellor's expression remained calm. It seems we all have some troublesome family worries, don't we, Ellis? And you still care so much about your brother. But since you specifically asked, I'll just have to put on an act to deal with it. After this thought, Chancellor turned to Boris standing by his side. Sorry to keep you waiting, Boris. Boris was as ever courteous, and when the principal asked how he was doing at the academy, just politely responded that he was still adjusting. After the pleasantries, Chancellor composed himself. The reason why I've called you here is because I was curious about something. When do you plan to tell me that you are actually working for my grandson, Lionel? Did you perhaps have a reason to hide that? Boris's reply was still composed. I didn't intentionally hide this fact. I just felt that these matters have nothing to do with my work at the academy. Chancellor Kundal continued to press for his purpose. Boris admitted, I was looking for a person. And have you found that person? It seems that I did. Chancellor's expression suddenly turned very stern. Stop it at once. Boris was puzzled, but Chancellor Kundal refused to give more explanations, only became more assertive. If the person you are looking for is the one I'm thinking of, I demand you stop all actions against him. I'll keep that in mind, Chancellor. Leaving the principal's office, Boris was still stunned by Chancellor's reaction. That principal who always believed in neutrality, showing such favoritism towards this young man. It seems that Cyan has been taking care of his surrounding people better than I thought. He really is an interesting child. I'm constantly finding myself with new things to report every time. After sending out new intelligence, a voice also arose beside Boris. What do you plan to do next? If Chancellor gets involved, things might get difficult to handle. Boris kept responding affirmatively. I know very well, Lord Hiskria. But Hiskria's worries grew heavier. You need to be more careful. Kiran is not like me. She has a real physical body. Boris's expression remained calm and composed. Then I'll just have to destroy the people near him first. That's a good idea, but it seems someone has arrived. Hiskria disappeared in an instant, and another voice rose behind Boris. Did you want to see me, Instructor Boris? He turned around, looking at Sirika dressed in academic attire. Thank you for coming, Instructor Sirika. There's no need for that. I've wanted to see you as well. Boris stood up. I just have a question regarding the student, Cyan. Sirika looked puzzled. Boris moved a bit closer. As far as I know, he spends most of his time inside his dormitory, and he barely participates in the class, yet his skills are excellent. Sirika laughed it off. Can't help it. That's probably what being a genius is like. Are you interested in him? Boris affirmed. Yes. At first, I was just interested in him, but now, I've also taken an interest in the people around him. Like you, Sirika Nakriti, or should I call you a follower of the mist? Seeing Boris suddenly challenge her, a spark flickered in Sirika's eyes. The next moment, a black blade appeared in her hand, but Boris was faster. Hellhound, an indescribable creature with dark, heavy pupils, as if hell reborn, tightly entwined Sirika, yet Boris remained on guard. Sure enough, the next moment, blades flashed chaotically. Mist storm. Sirika held nothing back. Authority of the god of black mist. Fog domain. The overwhelming dark energy completely shattered the summoned creatures, but Boris seemed unconcerned, his eyes still excited. It's unexpected that you could open a new domain. I guess that's why you've managed to hide your magical energy so well. Sirika stood her ground, her surroundings now completely covered by her domain. She was no longer the docile magic instructor, but a cold, resilient master of assassins. Although I don't know how you discovered my true identity, since you've come to me seeking death, I'll grant it to you. Boris remained composed as ever, utterly disregarding the assassins slowly encircling him. I won't be as easy as you think I am. Well, aren't you just brimming with confidence? Let's see how long you can maintain it, shall we? Boris Ruhelm, your purification shall now begin. Hiskria pages flickered with light. Then Boris sneered, wonderful. I shall gladly face everyone. On the other side, we were just returning from the battlefield. Brian was starving. I'm back. Nana and Emily looked back. It's Daddy. Young master. Nana immediately threw herself into my arms. Daddy, Nana missed you. It was unexpected. Brian slowly approached Emily. Do you have something to eat? Nana's grown so much that it's hard to properly hug her, but a warmth still surged in my heart. How have you been, Nana? While I was away, Nana nodded vigorously, eagerly boasting. Nana has listened to Daddy and gotten along very well with Mr. Sirika. Hearing this, a huge weight lifted from my heart. Sounds like she's been enduring it well somehow. Sirika's training, that is. A few days ago, I asked her to train Nana to control her rampage, so that what happened at the Banquet of Blood may never happen again. Even though her training may be harsh, she's certainly the right person for the job in terms of controlling one's instinct. It must have been tough for you. Great job, Nana. Upon hearing this, Nana immediately showed a face full of happiness. But Nana is not training today. Sirika said she's very busy. She has an appointment. I couldn't help but ask what appointment, but it was Kram who answered me. She probably went off to purify, because I ordered her to purify that bastard called Boris. I was puzzled. What do you mean by purify? That guy, he's here as an instructor, isn't he? So So, since she's also an instructor, wouldn't it be easy for her to approach him? Hearing this, my heart tightened. There's no way Air would have permitted that. Do you even know what she has to face? Hearing my question, Kiram casually waved his hand. Are you talking about Hiskria? Do you think that Sirica and the Mist can't beat something like that? Hearing this, I couldn't help but facepalm and sigh. So, you knew about the existence of Hiskria. What are you planning to tell me about such important matters? But Kiram thought this minor matter didn't warrant such fuss. This is no minor matter. Looks like I won't have time for breaks. Kiram questioned. You're going? I have to. What's truly dangerous is his bloodline. Brian, it looks like I'm going to have to go, so get Emily and Nana. But as I turned around, I found Brian was relishing Emily's dark cuisine. Sorry, young master, I was just too hungry. Should I tag along? It's fine. Kiram and I will go. He indeed has grown stronger and is the first normal human I have seen who can tolerate Emily's cooking. Then should we wait here? Brian inquires curiously. Take Nana and Emily to Brenu. Hearing this, Nana was gravely shocked. We're separating already. Daddy, I patted her head. Sorry about that. It's because things can get dangerous around here. However, Nana worriedly asked, will you be fine? I firmly answered, I will. I'll come find you once this is over. I'll leave them in your care, Brian. Meanwhile, Sirica's ambush was thwarted, and soon she was left standing alone. And one after another, the figures of marionettes emerged in the field. At this moment, Sirica thought to herself, was this bastard the one behind the banquet of blood as well? Those are marionettes with the same energy back then. They're much stronger compared to the ones before, but I'm certain. Boris, holding the Hiskria, appeared even more despicable in her eyes. He taunted, are you tired already? Do you understand now? Numbers mean nothing to me, but this is just the appetizer. We still have the main dish and dessert. Magic surged. The marionettes rushed at Sirica, and in the blink of an eye, the offense and defense switched. Sirica hurriedly dodged, but the marionettes seemed endless. Mist sword, mist storm. After a flurry of quick group attacks, mist sword, 8 fluttering petals. Sirica's figure darted rapidly. Not yet finished. Secret technique, wave of murderous intent. But Boris would not just watch. Spear of judgment. The chaotic spears of light, like treasures striking the ground. Boris disregarded the casualties among the marionettes, indiscriminately covering the area where Sirica was. Damn, Sirica felt increasingly frustrated. Every time she had a chance to attack, his high-level spells would timely appear to interrupt her rhythm. Coupled with these fearless marionettes, she couldn't turn the tide of battle. Suddenly, the attacking marionettes sped up. Sirica narrowly dodged. These marionettes, they're accurately reading my movements. Puppetry, Nidstang. The close-range marionettes suddenly exploded, catching Sirica off guard again. It was Boris controlling them, and he had also infused a great amount of magic into the marionettes' bodies. These were not at all like the marionettes from the bloody banquet. They have that much mana stored in them. In a moment of hanging in the air, more self-destructing marionettes clung to Sirica. Consecutive loud explosions ring in the air. After the explosion, a figure was flung far away. Boris sneered, I'm afraid it's time to send you to your death. Holy Warhammer. A beam of golden holy flame that pierced the sky and earth converged into a giant golden hammer, smashing down. Turning back, the spot where Sirica had been had collapsed into a deep pit. Boris also drifted down from midair. What a pity. But the domain had not yet disappeared. Sirica's voice was still calm. I finally understand. It looks like your marionettes can track the mana of their opponent, unlike ordinary marionettes. And that spellbook in your hands is the source of their power, right? I felt the insane mana from it, so I guess it's an artifact, right? Boris couldn't help but clap in admiration. What excellent battle awareness and profound knowledge. I must say you are so remarkable. But it's a pity. What exactly can you do with that? With a wave of his hand, a large number of marionettes once again rose from the ground. There's no shortage of puppets. Give up. The advantage is mine. Sirica's magical power erupted around her, her fighting spirit even stronger. Sorry to tell you, but I hate giving up. Secret technique activation. Magic continuously stretched Sirica's shadow, summoning familiar. Greedy Mammon. A shadow of exile from the divine realm gradually materialized. Boris was incredulous. The magical power he sensed from that woman had completely vanished. Such magic, even he had never heard of. As soon as the figure of Greedy Mammon appeared, it attacked the marionettes, with no match in the field. Seeing his painstakingly crafted marionettes torn apart like toys by the giant beast Mammon, Boris felt as if his heart was bleeding. How rude of you. I've worked hard to acquire those puppets. But what interested him more was Sirica had infused all her magical power into the body of the summoned beast. To think you could turn your mana into a familiar. What an impressive talent. But more importantly at the moment, Sirica's physical body was just a shell without any magical power. A simple spell could easily take her life. It must be difficult for you to even cast a simple spell. The deciding moment appeared. He would not let it pass. But in the blink of an eye, that place was empty. Sirica had already teleported behind Boris. You sure talk as if you're not in any danger at all. Energy defense. A solid barrier stood between them, but Boris still didn't feel safe. Her movement had no trace of magical fluctuation. How did she do it? But the chaotic slashing had already made the barrier tremble on the verge of collapse. Got you. The barrier shattered bit by bit. Sirica pounced, pinning Boris down. Checkmate. Sirica punched, sending him flying to the ground. Just when Boris is about to stand up, Sirica immediately grabbed his mouth, physically silencing Boris, not giving giving him time to chant a spell. But Boris had prepared a spell that could be activated without chanting. Shockwave, and a blast creates distance between him and Sirika. Boris, still in midair, quickly unleashed a forbidden spell, Spear of Judgment. Light spears shot out. Sirika dodged nimbly, like a butterfly dancing among bee stings. As the distance closed again, Boris was struck hard and sent down with a blast. The dust settles, and Boris fortunately survived the fall. A voice then rang by Boris's ear. Let's stop for today. Boris. Hiskria burst out with strong energy, blocking Sirika's advance. Sirika was shocked. Damn it, the divine artifact stopped me? We lack too much information on that woman. I thought she was just one of the followers of Air. But with that level of skill, she must be at least an executive or higher. It would be difficult to face her at your current level. Just then, Sirika noticed something. The fresh blood dripping from the corner of Boris's mouth was black. Were you a member of the Black Bloodkin? Weren't they wiped out in this current era? Boris nonchalantly wiped away the blood. This is why I avoided situations where I'd end up bleeding. What a disgrace. In an instant, the source of the marionettes and the day's stone that appeared in the bloody banquet became clear. The ones that created those two things for the first time were the Black Bloodkin. So you were the mastermind behind that massacre. Boris Ruhelm. Now that his identity was exposed, it would be difficult to continue his work. Amidst his words, Boris began to cast a spatial magic. I'll see you next time. Like hell there will be next time. I won't let you leave this place. Sirika charged again, but the real deadly move was closer to Boris. Greedy Mammon. This beast had rushed to help only after devouring the marionettes, but the golden shield only trembled under the mighty attack, showing no sign of breaking. She's so annoying, Hiskria taunted. I forgot that this familiar was still around. It seems that it has already taken all my marionettes as its sacrifice. Sirika was anxious. Is it impossible to break through this? If only he didn't have that spellbook, then I could have had a chance. But the next moment, a disturbance in her domain caught her attention. Who is it? Who can invade my domain? As they both turned back, they simultaneously saw a familiar figure. Boris was even more shaken. Now of all times, and I, just appearing for a moment, the blade of the demon in my hand had already swung towards Boris. Just upon contact, a massive burst of energy erupted. Sirika quickly seized the opportunity for a combined attack. The barrier shattered inch by inch. Golden fragments scattered everywhere. Kiram's true form also emerged from the shadows. Seeing her archenemy so defeated made her feel extremely satisfied. You look miserable, Hiskria. But Hiskria only felt furious. How did you find me? Why are you here? He irritably asked. Kiram moved even closer. That's naturally because a hypocrite like you, no matter how far away, that nauseating smell seems to waft right before my eyes. Hiskria finally dropped his composed demeanor. But I remember telling you before, you chose the wrong side. Hearing this, Kiram was stunned. Authority of the supreme god Seraphim. Brilliant holy light descended from the dome. Hiskria's magical energy continued to rise. You chose a side that was doomed to fail, so just quietly accompany the losers to their graves. Hiskria also instantly burst forth with tremendous energy, pushing back all those in front of me. Sirika was also pushed back, but I advanced instead of retreating. The sanctified vigor struck the demon blade, producing a clear ringing sound. Sirika called out loud, Cyan, while Hiskria incredulously watched the young man before him. He's actually resisting the power of the supreme god. What sort of power could be at work here? He couldn't possibly be enduring with the power of the demon blade alone, could he? He's been hiding someone much more dangerous than I expected. Boris, just catching his breath. I'll assist you as well, Lord Hiskria. Then he also gathered his magic again. The master of the demon blade stands before us. We must eliminate him now. Hiskria transmitted a message to Boris. Stop, Boris. We're not strong enough at this moment. Seeing Boris join the fray, my anger surged. Have you forgotten? Still have a score to settle with you, Boris Ruhelm. With that said, I burst out with an even stronger fighting spirit, breaking through many obstacles. The blade swept across, and Hiskria split in two. But after landing a blow, I did not pause. Striding energetically, the demon blade thrust directly at Boris. My target has always been you. Boris was mortified. He didn't expect me to be able to break Hiskria's magical barrier. The black fog that will cover the sun from the prophecy book must be this extraordinarily powerful young man before him. He made up his mind. If I am destined to be the blade that strikes at a shell, then he must cut me down here no matter what, while Hiskria's barrier is active. But at that moment, Sirika, skirting the edges of the fight, grew worried about my situation. If I continued to unreservedly drive my magic, then before killing the enemy, I would surely collapse my own body first. She was anxious. I must do something before Greedy Mammon vanishes. The fight with Boris had reached a critical point of life and death. Mist sword, giant tree roots. But Boris also harbored a belief in mutual destruction. Heavy pupils of shadow continually gathering before him. Hellhound, this bloodthirsty shadow from purgatory, was also bound to devour me completely. But in the next instant, Sirika suddenly leaped into the fray. Secret technique, demon unification. She swiftly scooped me up by the waist, narrowly dodging the deadly move. I incredulously turned my gaze toward the center of the battle. The massive energies clashing had blasted the area into pieces. The domain dissipated. The opponent was nowhere to be seen. Sirika could no longer maintain her transformation. Boris broke through my domain. So that's the power of the divine artifact. He ran away. The purification mission has failed. I stood up. Why Why did you stop me? Is that something you should say to the one who saved you? But it seems I just saved you. Hearing this, Surika once again went into a frenzy, but I had already turned my attention to Kram. Are you okay, Kram? I might have to sleep for the time being. Hearing this, I thought to myself, she should have felt the same pain of that moment again, yet she managed to endure it all. This situation couldn't help but worry me. When the final battle comes, it seems that is the only choice I have expected. Meanwhile, in the trading district of Brenya City, the cloaked Ellis was stunned. She had her doubts, but she finally met with Chancellor Kundal. She first thanked Chancellor for accepting the invitation. In her memory, Chancellor would not easily leave the Royal Academy. Chancellor frankly said, after seeing the letter Ellis sent, he felt somewhat uneasy. Ellis was curious about the reason for Chancellor's visit. Is it because I left the Order of the Knights of Light? Chancellor said he was never worried, because Ellis would ultimately choose her own path. He then turned serious. So, the legacy of your family doesn't seem that important to me, but you mentioned Ashell and Lunel. Ellis asked, does the principal also know about Ashell? Let's just say that I am aware to a certain degree. The Chancellor's voice was calm. What do you think would happen if Ashell takes over the legacy of the Vert family? The Empire's core talents are all concentrated in the Order of the Knights of Light, and Ashell might eventually become the leader of these people. That would be the case, and if you consider his close relationship with Lunel, the Church of Light might also end up in their hands. Ultimately, it will only be a monster that unifies military, law, politics, and religion. Ellis couldn't help but ask, that's the issue I've been worried about. What do you think, Chancellor? Lunel is your grandson after all, isn't he? Chancellor's expression was solemn. Some time ago, your brother Cyan asked me a question, whether I wish for the Empire's prosperity or the family's glory. He must have been peeking into the future. I was too unconcerned about the upcoming days. Ellis sharpened her brows. What exactly was Cyan looking into the future? Chancellor Kundal stood up. I am not certain as well. So, Ellis, can you promise me one request? Leave the Empire for a while. Ellis was puzzled. So suddenly, Chancellor's tone became heavier, because I feel a great chaos is about to descend upon the Empire. I will try to correct its course, but I cannot guarantee success. By great chaos, you mean, I'm talking about a coup. There are signs that some rebellions are already brewing secretly. Someone is attempting to seize the throne. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Brian started another moving journey with Nana. When Nana first entered this city known for its trade, she was already bewildered by the bustling market. With pointing fingers, she compliments what she sees. Wow, cool fruits, cool people. The half-orc pointed out by Nana immediately showed displeasure. Brian quickly tried to smooth things over. Sorry, no offense meant, we're leaving now. As they turned to leave, Brian couldn't help but lecture Nana. It's not polite to point at people like that, Nana. But Emily just thought it was making a big deal out of nothing. What's the harm? All kids grow up doing that sort of stuff. We should try to keep a low profile. Nothing good come out from catching too much attention. Come on, if we go together like this, won't people think that we're just an ordinary family? Emily said with a smile. Hearing this, Brian's face turned red. The safe house the young master mentioned. Right, this way. Emily hurried to follow, but in a moment of carelessness, Nana's attention was captured by other novelties, moving further and further away from them. At this time, inside the safe house, Ellis was alone and distressed. The news of the coup discussed by the Chancellor, and the change in Ashell mentioned by her brother, all these changes seemed to rush into her world unannounced. The feeling of always being the last to know made her feel stuffy. To think Ashell and Lunel were planning such an act. How did Chancellor Kundal and Cyan know about it? Suddenly, Emily's greeting came from behind her. Lady Ellis, it's been such a while. Ellis hurried forward to greet Emily. And even Sir Brian, were you perhaps staying in the academy with Cyan? Emily's expression was proud. Of course, you know young Master Cyan can't do anything without me. Ellis couldn't help but get carried away, including Miss Demon Blade, Kram. That makes 2 women. He's living together with 2 women in the academy. Is that even allowed? Fortunately, Brian's interjection brought her back to reality. The young master had an urgent matter to attend to, so he arranged for the 3 of us to come here first. What do you mean by 3? The 3 turned their heads back. Where did Nana go? Brian and Emily were struck as if by lightning. Ellis tentatively asked, did you have another member with you? But the expressions on their faces already told her everything. Brian is sweating profusely. Damn, I messed up. I shouldn't have taken my eyes off her. Let's go. Ellis' voice snapped both of them to reality. If that's the case, then let's go find her. If she's important to my brother, she's just as important to me. Let's go right away. As evening approached, on the Brenya City's dock area, 2 guards had just settled the goods in the warehouse. We're ready to set sail now. Looks like we'll be making a nice profit this time as well. Both of them will report to the captain when they saw a figure blocking their way. The leading half-elf recognized the girl right away. She was the one who had pointed at him during the day. She sure is fearless, wandering around like that. There, Nana was standing, looking at them directly. Hey, kid, why are you here? And where are your parents? But Nana pointed towards the warehouse. Over there. I smell something very familiar. The guard was shocked. You're curious about that? Could it be that the smuggled goods have been discovered? But a poisonous plan quickly formed in their mind. The little girl right in front of us is no less than those in the warehouse, since it's money coming to us. Thinking this, the half-elf made up his mind. We have lots of delicious things there, you know? Nana quickly asked. Is it candy? Although the half-elf felt that Nana's figure was no longer of an age interested in candy, he He still responded smoothly, yes, lots and lots of candies. Nana's eyes lit up instantly. Can I eat the candies? Of course, we're fine gentlemen. You see, we'll give you all of them for free. But at that moment, my usual admonitions also surfaced in Nana's mind. Nana, when a stranger offers you candy and asks you to follow him, what should you do? Nana racked her little brain, feeling that these two were so friendly. Okay, the two were immediately delighted. Ah, right, it's this way. Come here, there's plenty of candies inside here. At that time, my teachings flashed again in Nana's mind. If someone invites you into a dark, scary place, never, ever go in there. Got it. Nana likes candy. The hatch closed the moment Nana entered. Nana looked around, seeing only rows of iron bars and imprisoned children, no candy. Nana had been deceived. Guilt and helplessness swept over Nana's young heart. Nana was tricked. Daddy, I'm sorry, but that familiar smell was still there. Nana hurriedly searched. It's the smell I've been smelling since earlier. While walking, she suddenly stopped. In front of her was a cage covered in cloth. I smell it here. Let me see. That smell is coming from you, right? A small beast with a ferocious grin caught her eye. It was a high-level beast, red knoll. She slowly reached out to pat its head. The moment Nana's small hand touched it, the red knoll's whining instantly ceased. Good boy. That's a good boy. So cute. How did you get trapped? Do you need Nana to set you free? A bloodline-induced suppression made it tremble and nod repeatedly. Nana exerted a little force, and had already created an escape route. Excuse me, big sis. Hearing the sound, Nana turned back, seeing the same trapped half-beast children. Please, can you also set us free? Nana flashed a smile, not saying a word. At that time, outside the warehouse, the two guards had already returned to report to the guild. We're all ready, Captain. Chairman of the Red Knoll Guild. Torino's lips curled up. Good work. Now all that's left is to leave port. After the Grey Guild was eradicated, a new Red Knoll Guild took its place. The bodyguard warriors spoke with a worried tone. Are we handling the transaction ourselves this time as well? That's right. Hasn't the Grey Guild come to an end because Morris suddenly disappeared? The guild chairman Torino reassured. With the transaction fees gone, things are looking better for us. The Garum Magic Association pays better the younger the children are, so I'll reward you all handsomely once this deal is over. First, the Alba's Guild, and now the Grey Guild is dismantled. I don't have good feelings about this, just my intuition as a woman. The other guild members were dumbfounded. You're a woman? While she continued, I think it's best to approach this trade with caution. Don't worry, even if something unexpected happens, we still have the Knoll champion on our side. His speech was cut off as a violent explosion erupted from the ship's cabin, instantly tearing the merchant ship apart. Torino cried out in pain. My ship, who did this? At that moment, a figure soared through the air and landed steadily. It was Nana in her liberated dragonkin form. At this moment her tone was angry. You bad adults, really despicable. Nana will never forgive you. Torino was gravely shocked. Is that a dragonkin? Nana also confronted the employees. You guys, was it you who just lied and tricked Nana, right? Bad adults. The half-elf immediately became annoyed. Why? That little brat. Why does she keep pointing fingers at us? Several people suddenly rushed to her. If that's how it is, I'll cut off your fingers first. Nana's fists, knee kicks, and headbutts firing. The next moment, she had knocked down several employees. The guild chairman, furious, ordered his Knoll champion slave. So that's how it's going to be. Go! Capture her alive. Nana sharpened her gaze. The burly Knoll growled at her with its eyes bloody red and swung a huge warhammer, smashing towards Nana. The president cursed again. You idiot. I told you to capture her alive, not kill them. If you put even a single scratch on the product, you're dead too. The Knoll's heart tightened, not just because of the president's scolding, but because he could feel his grand attack was actually caught single-handedly by the small figure before him. Was she actually a dragonkin? And at this time, Nana also noticed something. It was the beast ring on the Knoll's neck. Is this also a slave? Thinking this, Nana no longer met the Knoll's warhammer head-on, but chose to dodge. Her agile figure, like a butterfly following a pendulum, made the Knoll's successive attacks futile. The president once again scolded the Knoll for his incompetence. The slave emblem on his wrist emitted a dazzling light. He chose to use pain to stimulate the Knoll's ferocity. The champion Knoll was forced to deliver a powerful blow. Nana stopped dodging, gathering a purple glow between her fists. The unadorned breeze coalesced at the edge of her fist, striking directly at the Knoll's chest. The Knoll's massive body, thrown by the force of the hit, crashed into the frightened faces of the guild members. With that single strike, Nana unleashed a powerful magic force. This made those in the city searching for her, like Brian, take notice. It looks like she's in that direction. I felt a large amount of mana from there. They rushed towards the source of the magic. We must hurry. Meanwhile, in the collapsed ruins of the guild, that damned brat, she won't get away with this. The chairman viciously stimulated the slave brand. Go finish her. But the next warning made him break out in cold sweat. The slave collar on the Knoll's neck, had it been damaged? A bad premonition suddenly rose in his heart, but the frenzied Knoll had already begun indiscriminate attacks. The chairman was instantly crushed by a furious blow. As the Knoll turned its head, Nana's petite figure had already approached, without extra words. In the next instant, it was about to tear the little girl into pieces. But suddenly, a familiar figure leaped into the Knoll's sight. Tada, you must be this little one's mommy, right? It's been looking for you the whole time. The Knoll's maternal instincts overflowed, switching to another face. Nana waved her little hand. Bye-bye, stinky but good-smelling nice doggy. Little Red Knoll also waved goodbye to Nana. Seeing such a scene, Nana couldn't help but miss her beloved dad. Suddenly, a voice of thanks from behind brought her thoughts back. It was the other children she helped. What should Nana do with these little ones? At that moment she noticed several sneaky figures were trying to escape behind her. She immediately shouted, "Hey, you bad uncles over there, you guys take responsibility and get these kids back home. Otherwise, I'm gonna eat you." The three wore bitter expressions, could only nod in agreement. With everything settled, she waved goodbye to them all. Nana saved everyone. I wonder if I'll get complimented if Daddy hears about it. She can't help but be emotional. Nana didn't mess things up this time. Instead, she did a good deed. Praise me, Daddy. I miss Dad so much. Suddenly, a warm hand covered Nana's little head. I softly said, "Nana did very well. I saw everything." Nana's face instantly lit up with joy. "Daddy, how did you find Nana?" Mana equivalent of an elder dragon spread all across the town. It'd be weird if I didn't find her. Seeing how no one was at the safe house, they must have been looking for her too. First, Brian and Emily had failed to take good care of Nana. It seems I must give them a good scolding. But when I turned to Nana, I still adopted the gentlest demeanor. I am Nana's dad, so no matter where you go, I will find you. That being said, what an immense mana. You're so amazing, Daddy. At that time, the three who were searching for Nana finally met. Brian, frightened, expressed his relief. Thank God Nana is safe. I thought something had happened to Nana, but when he saw me, he froze. What met him was my frosty face. In that case, you must already know about your mistake, correct? Emily, seeing me chasing after Brian, couldn't help but feel a sense of sorrow for the misfortune of others. But Ellis was just staring blankly at Nana's figure. The person you were looking for was a dragonkin? Nana looked at her puzzled. While I gave Brian a good lecture, I told you not to take your eyes off the kid. Meanwhile, within the Kusel family mansion in the imperial capital, the current head of the family hurriedly greeted the visiting chancellor formally and thought, what could be the matter all of a sudden? Who would have thought someone who's been holed up in the academy would come all the way here? What brings you here, father? Chancellor's expression was stern. It's been a while, my son. Let us have a little talk. Inside the meeting hall, Chancellor silently flipped through the family accounts. It's been 10 years since I stepped down from my position as the Duke, so I have no intention of interfering with your family decisions. But why? Despite the decline in revenue, has the tribute sent to the royal family suddenly increased so much? Aren't you aware of the situation as well, father? The eldest son respectfully replied, the family of the current queen, the House of Nepolis, has unilaterally increased the funds provided to the royal family, so we also had to keep up. Otherwise, if we fall behind economically, our political influence will inevitably weaken, and then it might be their bloodline controlling the throne. Isn't it also your wish, father, for Lionel, who carries the Kusel bloodline, to be the emperor? Shut up, Chancellor angrily said. Do you think a person like Lionel has the virtues to become the emperor? The eldest son stood his ground. As long as the emperor's heir comes from the Kusel family, does it really matter who it is? Chancellor countered. Just like when you arranged for your sister to marry the emperor? Is that what you mean? I don't want to say more, so cut off all supplies and support to Lionel. Right now, immediately. The eldest son watched Chancellor's hurried departure and anxiously asked, where are you going? I'm headed to the imperial capital. Meanwhile, within the Vert family's territory, Ishel was reading a message from Boris. The owner of the demon blade was found. His heart was a mix of emotions. He had been making plans all this time, but there was always a bad premonition of failure, as if eyes in the darkness were watching, making all his plans come to naught. But there was still some good news. Ellis had secretly left the Order of the Knights of Light, undoubtedly beneficial for his inheritance of the family legacy. But recently, the way Ellis looked at him carried a hint of disdain. Did she discover something? These unsettling troubles were really irritating him. But in the next instant, a spatial magic circle appeared before him. Boris's disheveled figure emerged from the magic circle, bowing respectfully to him. Boris Ruhelm greets Lord Ishel Vert. Ishel was astonished. What's with your state? Is this the true form of the Black Bloodkin? Boris apologized respectfully. My apologies, Lord Ishel. To think I'd show you such a state of mind. I have no words. Ishel inquired. Who beat you up like this? Aren't you supposed to be at the Royal Academy? Boris didn't hide it. It was your brother, Cyan, who pushed me to this state. Ishel's eyes widened. Cyan? Boris continued. But fortunately, I have not failed my mission. I've traced the clue to the demon blade. As he spoke, he took out a sealed magic orb. This is the mana of the demon blade discovered during the bloody banquet. I have finally found the owner of the demon sword. It's your brother. Ishel's expression darkened. It all makes sense now. The master of the demon blade is Cyan. He's been sabotaging my plan all along. To think I hadn't realized till now, Boris said solemnly. I had tried to eliminate him, but unfortunately, I am not strong enough yet. Ishel said firmly. Then let me handle this personally. I clashed swords with him before. It won't be easy, but odds are in my favor. Boris quickly added, but now is not the time for that, which made Ishel puzzled. Besides Sir Cyan, there are followers of the mist by his side. The situation could become unpredictable. Ishel inquires, are you saying you have a plan? We should follow the prophecy. The Saintess will lead you to where the Holy Sword resides. Find the Holy Sword. Duran Dark. At that moment, Kellen, who was eavesdropping behind the door, suddenly became tense. The news of the Holy Sword is of great importance. I must hurry and inform the young master Master Cyan about this news. But the next moment, Boris appeared before him like a ghost. Didn't expect there was a sneaky little rat hiding here. Boris immediately grabbed Kellen's neck. Aren't you a loyal person to Lord Ishel? Who are you trying to go to after sneakily eavesdropping on us? Ishel stepped out of the room. I've had my suspicions about him for a while. With a displeased expression, his eyes filled with coldness. You've been deceiving me all along, Kellen. At that moment, in the library of the Royal Academy, Lunov was anxiously searching through everything related to the prophecy book, the ancient book found in Boris's study, the only clue being those ancient inscriptions. If it weren't for Boris's forceful expulsion spell, she should have been able to discover more clues. But now, the only thing she knows is that there were only two books in this world that were written in ancient text, the Holy Book and the Demon Tome. Between those two, it looked like the Holy Book. But why would Instructor Boris have such a holy book? Of course, what's most important are the contents and purpose of the book. But Lunov was clueless. Her eyes turned serious, and she thought, as expected, do I have no choice but to search through the forbidden archives of the Garam Council? But the next moment, Aaron's call interrupted Lunov's thoughts. Lunov, you're so engrossed in your reading, you didn't even notice my approach. Lunov responded with a smile. Lady Aaron, what brings you here? Aaron suddenly became a bit shy. Did you happen to see Cyan recently? Who knows? I've been in the library the whole time. You must miss him, don't you? Not at all. Aaron quickly denied. I just noticed he suddenly disappeared. It's just weird. Lunov reassured her. Don't worry, Senior Cyan will soon return before you even realize. Aaron asked puzzledly. How are you so sure about that? Lunov's brows furrowed slightly. I just know. He's always been like that, hasn't he? Hearing this, Aaron is speechless. She's right. Suddenly, Rezimus burst in hurriedly. Lady Aaron, something huge came up. What's all the fuss about? Rezimus quickly handed her the letter. This letter came from the Imperial family. Hurry up and read it. Aaron was instantly displeased. You're so flustered. Have you already sneakily read the letter? That's very impolite. You know that, right? But Rezimus still urged her to hurry and open it. Aaron reluctantly unfolded the letter. In her father's own handwriting, unexpectedly formal, the letter read, considering the close ties between the Vert family and the royal family, the fifth princess, Aaron Sevelis, and the youngest son of the Vert family, Cyan Vert, are hereby announced to be engaged under the premise of marriage. At that time, within the splendid royal castle, the emperor sincerely expressed his thanks to his second daughter. Just a common cold, really no need for such devoted care, right? But Violet still refused to leave the sickbed for even a moment. Father, I truly hope you recover soon. Just seeing you suffer from this illness, my heart breaks. Don't worry, Violet. But the visit of Chancellor Kusel interrupted this warm moment between father and daughter. Chancellor turned to Violet. I hope you've been well, Your Highness. Violet respectfully answered, yes, it's all thanks to you. She then tactfully excused herself. This esteemed grandfather, although he also holds the heavy responsibility of being the Chancellor, he probably wouldn't have entered the palace so rashly if it weren't for an urgent matter. However, just at the first sight of the Emperor, Chancellor's uneasy premonition turned into reality. Having not seen you for a while, how have you become so thin? In the Emperor's room, the Emperor formally apologized to Chancellor. I'm embarrassed for having such a precious guest over in this manner because of my health. Chancellor hurriedly offered comfort and reassurance, but still urgently inquired again. Since when has your health become this bad? The Emperor spoke frankly. He thought it was just a common cold, but never expected that his body would not recover. This situation inevitably tugged at Chancellor's heartstrings. I'm sorry, Your Majesty. I should have come here earlier. I assume you're here to discuss something serious then. But the Emperor knew well the nature of this old mentor. Chancellor was dedicated to his educational career. If something was important enough to necessitate his personal visit to the palace, it must be because he felt that the entire empire was in danger. Are you worried about that boy Lionel? Chancellor's expression was serious. It seems you're already aware of it. You're right. I actually didn't think much of it, but I realize now that it's much more serious. Don't worry about him. The Emperor's hands gathered magic power. As long as I am alive, Lionel will not cause any major trouble. The Emperor's mana was indeed still immense, but Chancellor had already sensed that it is very unstable. It seems the illness had not only eroded his appearance, but in his words, the Emperor began to mention another matter that concerned him. How is Princess Aaron doing at the academy? Chancellor reported truthfully. Aaron is an excellent student with both hard work and talent, and asserted that, as time went on, I believed she was fully capable of fulfilling her duties as a princess. Hearing this, the Emperor finally felt relieved. That's good. His daughter, who had been a crybaby since childhood, had also gradually grown up, but all this was inseparable from the boy she met 3 years ago. You mean Cyan? Chancellor inquires. Yes, I believe you will always stand behind Aaron to support her, which is why I decided to get them both married to each other. Engaged? Although Chancellor heard this news for the first time, he did not show a hint of surprise and only sighed. Aren't you surprised? I already knew what you had planned when you recommended him for the royal dorms. The Emperor chuckled. What do you think about him? Chancellor plainly said, he's terrible. The Emperor was startled and began to doubt his own judgment. Pardon? But Chancellor continued, he skips classes more than there are mealtimes in a day. I've also never seen him read any book. In my 50 years of teaching, he is undoubtedly the worst student I've ever had. Hearing this, the Emperor is sweating profusely and thought, have I made a grave mistake then? The Chancellor lips curled up and continued, however, I have to say, he's undeniable one of the most talented student I've ever seen. So I believe, as long as he stands behind Eren, no one in this world can harm her. Hearing this, the Emperor finally showed a relieved smile. He only hoped his decision would be a blessing for Eren, not a disaster. But when Chancellor asked about the Emperor's real concerns, the Emperor's expression saddened. I'm just worried. I fear bloodshed between the siblings. Meanwhile, Violet, who had just left the room, bumped into her eagerly waiting elder brother Lionel. I saw grandfather hurriedly meeting with father. Why did he suddenly come here? But Violet acted as if she hadn't heard. Who knows? Why don't you go ask him yourself? Lionel felt offended. What? Hey, I'm not done talking. Violet stopped in her tracks. You're so annoying. Lionel turned furious. Are you out of your mind? Do you wish to fight me? Violet slowly turned to the side. Of course not. Why would you think I would lower myself to your level like that? Lionel was fuming, yelling, Violet, what the hell are you saying? She grabbed Lionel's face. I can't believe you're so foolish that I need to tell you personally. Do you think I wouldn't know you tried to kill all your siblings? Lionel became furiously angry. Don't spout such nonsense without any evidence, Violet. I'll go and ask him myself. Watch your mouth from now on. But as he turned to leave, Lionel was still full of anger. Who betrayed me? How much does that bitch know? This is bad. Damn it. And her attitude just now. Who gave her the courage? Is she plotting something behind the scenes? Eren, upon receiving the news of her engagement, the first person she shared it with was Lunav. She couldn't help but be flustered. Marrying Cyan? How can he just decide something so important on his own? Seeing such a flustered Eren, Lunav couldn't help but speak up. If you don't like this arrangement, why don't you just turn it down then? But Eren looked even more uneasy, whispering, actually, I don't particularly dislike the idea. I assume it's beneficial for both households, but the Emperor could have at least talked to me about it. But Rezimus took it upon herself to step forward in the next moment. I fully support this marriage, Princess. I've witnessed the heartbreak you went through. Princess Eren is beat red from shock, unable to speak a word. Rezimus continued, this marriage seems more like fate's arrangement. A divine will. Cheer up, Eren. Young Master Cyan is meant to be yours. Princess Eren clings to Rezimus, trying her best to stop her from this embarrassment. Suddenly, a shout interrupted Rezimus's impassioned speech. Rezimus, why are you being so loud in the library? Don't you know? The library is a place for everyone to read quietly. The princess is uncomfortable too. Seeing the person who came was the very figure she had been longing for, she immediately grabbed Rezimus, and before she could even retort, a bashful Eren had already hurriedly pulled her away from the scene again. I felt strange. Only Lunav and I remained in the place at that moment. What with those two? But then, Lunav's question made me even more confused. Do you like Eren? I quickly answered, not really. Like Eren? How could that be? Just the thought made my skin crawl. After all, my mental age is over 30 years old. Eren seems more like a mischievous little child to me. Alright then. Hearing my answer, Lunav seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, and she unknowingly curled her lips up. At this time, she finally started talking about the reason she had been staying in the library. After finding that ancient book in Boris's study, Lunav had been searching through related books. But are these documents in front of us all that can be found? She nodded in affirmation. I don't think you'll find more than that. We might have to risk looking at the archive of forbidden text to read anything about the holy book Hiskria, but I still threw out my own discovery. Have you read this book? The Chronicles of Swordsman Fenelon. Lunav pored over it intently, but this book seems more like an unverifiable personal travelogue. Her judgment was sharp. I pointed to a passage in the book. Here, there is a mountain covered with sand trees. Legend has it that a mighty demon defeated in the War of the Gods now rests there. Do you have any idea of the location of the mountain described here? I'm not sure. Lunav was puzzled, asking about the connection between this site and the sacred book. I'm not looking for the holy scriptures at all. I plan to counter them by finding the demonic scripture. Lemmiharem. Lunav couldn't help but be surprised. How does Senior Cyan know about the holy book and the demon tome? Only a tiny fraction of the Garam Council knows of them. Lunav closes the book and whispered apologetically, it's my first time hearing about that as well. I'm sorry. It can't be helped if you don't know about it. I then waved goodbye at her. Anyway, if you figure something out, tell me. Okay, see you later, Senior. After I left, Lunav suddenly spoke sternly. You're hiding behind the bookshelf, aren't you, Ramila? Ramila was surprised internally. This young master is still as sharp as before. Forgive me, Lady Lunav. There have been orders from Lord Rygans to never leave you alone. Don't come out. Just stand there and answer. It's the guardian night newly arranged by my grandfather, but it seemed more like an excuse arranged by him to monitor me. Lunav continued, Hiskria and Lemmiharem. How many people know those names on the Garam Council? Ramila truthfully answered, a small minority. They're forbidden text, and even mentioning their names has been banned. I don't know how young Master Cyan knows of them. Then could you bring me books and documents regarding them within the association? Ramila hastily refused. If I did something like that, it could be the end of me. I'd incur the wrath of Lord Rygans. What if I tell grandfather about this? Do you think he won't be angry or punish you? You know secrets. I must know them too. Think carefully about what you should do, Ramila. Hearing this, Ramila was forced to reconsider. Understood, Lady Lunav. Lunav, reach out to the book I gave her. Thinking to herself, let's ask him later how he obtained that information. Right now, I have to focus on getting closer to him. There's definitely something, a secret, he's hiding. After After saying goodbye to Lunav, I still tried to find information about the demon tome. I thought Lunav might know some intelligence, but it seems I must investigate alone. But as I passed by the dormitory door, a familiar phrase broke into my ears. You seem troubled, my dear brother. At times like this, you should seek help from someone with wisdom and compassion, such as me. Tell me, my friend, I shall allow you to seek counsel for your troubles. I couldn't help but grimace. Had he finally snapped, going mad by himself? What are you coming up with this time, Seth? Surprised, aren't you? Underneath my robust muscles, there lies a smart and wise brain, but I just walked past him. Sorry, I'm busy right now. I don't have time to play your strange role-playing games. Seth immediately shouted, wait, brother, tell me your troubles. Maybe I really can help you. Such words coming from someone who seems to have muscles for brains really aren't very persuasive. But wait, thinking about it, that guy's homeland of Spania seems to have a lot of sand. Have you heard of a mountain dense with sand trees? Seth paused at that moment. A mountain covered with sand trees? Or perhaps I should say, a relic known as Lemmiharum. At this, Seth recalled a terrifying experience from his childhood. Such nostalgia. I haven't heard the name Lemmiharum in a while. Unexpectedly, this muscular man knew about the demon relic. Lemmiharum. That was the opponent who first gave me a taste of defeat. I met the bastard in some nameless ruin. At the time, I was just a 6-year-old fledgling on a solitary training journey. I terribly lacked experience and muscles. To me, it was a colossal manifestation of fear itself. An opponent I could never defeat. In a moment, I lost consciousness and woke up again, fortunately with my life intact. It seemed I'd instinctively escaped without my knowledge. Although he didn't die at the hands of Lemmiharum, this experience has always been considered a disgrace by him. So, Lemmiharum is a beast, and not the name of a book? Seth confirmed my inquiry. I thought to myself, I'll guess I'll have to go there myself if I want to check it out. I then asked Seth where it happened, the exact location. I don't know the name of the ruin, but the region is called Nodeli. In the language of Spania, it means forest of sand trees. Hearing this, I was immediately thrilled. I then excitedly asked Seth, if I went to Nodeli, could you guide me there? But Seth seemed even more excited than I was. Guide you? Are you saying we'll go together? Yeah, I'll get prepared. So let's go right now. Hearing this, Seth was overjoyed. An adventure with my friend? In Seth's mind, images from his childhood also emerged. Mother, your highness, why are you crying with such sadness? Because of his obsession with training his strength, he could never make friends his age, but his mother had once comforted his crying self. Don't worry, someday you'll find a like-minded friend. Is that true, mother? Of course. As long as you keep getting stronger, one day, you'll find real friends to adventure with. Seth was thrilled. Mother was right. Alright, let's set out, right now. In his excited state, he immediately surged with energy and dashed out of the dorm. Wait, that's a wall. To the astonishment of everyone, Seth sprinted, broke through the wall, and quickly vanished from sight. Indeed, he was still the same old Seth. Meanwhile, in the shadows, Lunav saw what had just happened. When I returned to the dorm, Brian and Emily were waiting with gossipy souls. Master, there's a letter from the royal family. Emily giggled. Oh gosh, young master, you sure do a lot. Even though you act indifferent, it's really exasperating. Did you read a letter of mine without permission again? Don't you know it's rude to open letters secretly? My apologies. I accidentally read it. I quickly read the letter. What could it be for you to make such a fuss? You're getting married, young master. Emily added before I could even read the letter. Me? Why? To whom? I asked, and Emily replied delightfully. To Princess Erin. No wonder Lunav asked that question. That's one more annoying thing on the list. But today, there are more important matters to handle, so I must put this aside for now. I quickly got ready. I'm going to be leaving for a few days. You too, take care of Nana. But Nana's little head popped up eagerly. Daddy, don't worry, Nana can take care of herself. But is Nana finally going to have a mother? No, you're not. That won't be happening. Hearing my response, Brian and Emily showed profoundly hurt expressions. Are you going to disobey an imperial order? Princess Erin will be very sad. The path I must walk is inevitably thorny. I might become the public enemy for shattering the Empire's hopes, or I might have to flee everywhere for blaspheming against the gods. Should I really involve Erin in such a life? If that answers it, I'm going now. Hearing my rare show of true feelings as I turned to leave, both of them were momentarily at a loss, standing there silent for a while. I feel bad for the young master. When it's a shell, who's the bad guy? Brian hurriedly extended a helping hand. Emily, we're not going to stand by and let nothing happen, right? Be strong. The more at times like this, the more the master needs our support. Emily quickly nodded. Nana also wants to support Daddy. The two busily echoed each other, but as they turned their heads back, they almost dropped their jaws in shock. Nana, young master Cyan, and at dusk, in the southeastern part of the Spania continent at Nodeli, suddenly, two flying figures appeared. This magic carpet is really nice. It took only half a day to reach Spania. Seth beamed proudly. This is a treasure of the royal family. However, I still have my doubts. By the way, are we even on the right path? Seth reassured. Don't worry, I clearly remember it all. Then he pointed at his back. We just need to go through that dusty wind. Ah, really? I flatly replied. Can I really trust this muscle brain? However, when I looked at the dusty wind ahead, I noticed streaks of black mana. My eyes widened. How is that just dusty wind? Seth laughed. That's just a regular occurrence in Spania. Trust in me, my friend.